As a mutual fund investor, it is important for us to know how our hard-earned money is managed. Yet, many of us shy away from this exercise as it looks too complex. To make this easier, mutual fund houses disclose a fund fact sheet every month. A fund fact sheet is a concise document that gives details of a mutual fund scheme along with its performance, portfolio composition, and other details relevant to the scheme. Let us understand how to read and use a fact sheet for a debt fund to make sound investment decisions. There are 5 sections that we need to look for in a fact sheet. 1. Key information. 2. Performance details. 3. Fund manager details. 4. Portfolio data. And 5. Key ratios and quantitative data. Key information. Key information includes the basic details of a scheme, like its investment objective, nature of the scheme, plans and options available, how old the scheme is, minimum investment amount, assets under management, exit load, etc. The fact sheet also includes a product label which helps an investor understand a scheme's suitability for an investor's risk profile, time horizon, and investment goal. Performance details. Performance details look at the historical performance of a scheme. This section also compares the returns of the scheme with that of the benchmark index and additional benchmark index across different time periods. Fund manager details. The fact sheet contains details of the fund manager's experience, the time for which he has been managing the fund, and the track record for all the other funds he has been managing. Portfolio data. The key portfolio attributes to look for in a debt scheme are its asset allocation and rating profile. Let us understand what asset allocation entails. Asset allocation highlights the exposure to various debt instruments, such as government securities, commercial papers and certificates of deposit, state development loans, corporate bonds, cash, cash equivalents, and net current assets. Government securities are issued by central government or state government and carry negligible default risk. Commercial papers are issued by large corporations to raise money for their short-term liquidity needs and are considered very safe. Certificates of deposit are issued by financial institutions, provide easy liquidity, and carry very low default risk. State development loans are issued by states for meeting their market borrowing requirements. Corporate bonds are issued by corporations to raise money from investors. Let us now understand what comes under rating profile. The rating profile shows the scheme holdings as per their credit rating. Higher the credit rating of the securities in a scheme, lower the default risk, and vice versa. The rating profile includes sovereign securities issued by central and state governments with practically no default risk. AAA-rated securities, which are long-term securities with highest degree of creditworthiness and very low default risk. A1+ rated securities, which are short-term securities with highest degree of creditworthiness and very low default risk. AA+ and below rated securities with high degree of creditworthiness and low default risk. And cash, cash equivalents, and net current assets. Key ratios and quantitative data. The key ratios and quantitative data in a debt scheme are average maturity, Macaulay duration, yield to maturity, and expense ratio. Average maturity helps determine the average time to maturity of all the securities in a debt scheme. Schemes with longer average maturity are relatively more volatile than schemes with shorter average maturity. Macaulay duration measures the price volatility of fixed income securities. It is often used to compare interest rate risk between securities with different coupons and different maturities. It is defined as the weighted average time to cash flows of a bond, where the weights are the present value of the cash flows. Yield to maturity gives the estimated rate of return of a debt scheme if it is held till maturity. Expense ratio gives the annual operating expenses of a scheme as a percentage of the scheme's net assets. The fact sheet contains the expense ratio for both direct and regular plans. Hence, these 5 sections: key information, performance details, fund manager details, portfolio data, and key ratios and quantitative data can help us take informed decisions while investing in mutual funds. Happy investing! Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.